Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ben Crossman, and I hope all of you are having a great day because we have a great show planned for you, where today we have none other than BlockSafe Technologies joining us in the first part of the show to talk about what it is that they do. We're talking cryptocurrency, blockchain, that kind of thing. It's been a couple of months since we had a company relevant to that field on the show, and that's far too long to see what the current state of affairs is. So looking forward to talking with them. But in the second part of the program, you can look forward to computer and technology news. And today, a surprising amount of hardware being displayed. I don't know what it is about today, but Netgear has some of their new Wi-Fi 6. Yeah, that's right. We're moving away from the Wi-Fi, 802.11ax, AC, whatever. Wi-Fi 6, the routers look very, very strange. I think Samsung unveiled their the first ever foldable phone. We're going to take a look at that thing. It looks... no offense. I mean, future technology, it's foldable, it's great. Looks a little bulky, but hey, we're going to talk about that and so much more. So all that and more at computeramerica.com, where you'll also find a link to our guest website, the show notes, and anything that we talk about. Real quick, the live video stream, you can catch us over at twitch.tv/computeramerica, and be sure to check out our social media contest brought to you by Logitech over at our website. Okay, I think that's about everything that needs to be said, and we can go ahead, jump into our conversation, as I said before, with BlockSafe Technologies. So to tell us all about what they do and how they do it, welcome onto the program the CEO of the company, Mr. George Waller. So George, welcome onto Computer America.
Ben, thank you very much, and I look forward to speaking with you today about blockchain, crypto, and all things crypto.
Obviously not going to try to stump you, but I don't think I could even if I tried, because this is a technology that is, I don't want to say complicated, because, once you have your basics down, it is understandable. There is a way to wrap your brain around this, but for new people, it can certainly get a little heady. So hopefully you are prepared to break down, in layman's terms as best you can. But before we get started with with everything, give us a bit of background on the company and a bit of your background. How did you find yourself working with BlockSafe Technologies?
Well, it's, by the way, I appreciate that first question. So BlockSafe Technologies, we started BlockSafe in January of this year. So it's approximately 10 months old. Prior to BlockSafe, us opening it up, I worked for the parent company, which is Strikeforce Technologies. At Strikeforce Technologies, we've been building cybersecurity solutions for the last almost 18 years. And we build solutions that are being used by consumers, by corporations, by government agencies, in 120 different countries around the world. People have purchased and companies have purchased our technology. So when we started looking at cybersecurity in the blockchain and crypto world, we realized that the same types of attacks that were happening against corporate America and individuals, consumers, those same types of attacks were happening against crypto users, crypto wallets, crypto exchanges, and blockchains. And we realized that we had the ability to take our solutions, modify them specifically to address crypto wallets, crypto exchanges, and blockchains. So we started going around talking with everyone in the industry. And what we found out very quickly is that for us to be taken seriously, we had to actually open up a blockchain company. dedicated to blockchain and crypto.
And just real quick, I mean, it really does make sense because there was a time, I'd say about a year and a half ago, when obviously things like Bitcoin were all the rage, and everyone was wondering, how do I get, a piece of the action? And a lot of companies simply threw the term blockchain or some kind of cryptocurrency. They kind of hobbled something together to appease investors, and they were awash with money. So I can see where people were a little skeptical that just existing companies were coming out with with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, safety, like you're doing, or I'm sorry, security. But I'm sure that it worked out well in the end. I mean, obviously, you guys are still providing your technologies, and I guess you could be a bit more targeted with your products and offerings.
Exactly. So what we did was we looked at each of the vulnerable areas. So what's under attack is the blockchain ecosystem. And one of your earlier questions is, can I kind of demystify, people
Sure.
hear crypto exchanges and blockchains, and then I'll apply what we've done to protect each of them. So we call it the blockchain ecosystem. What is that ecosystem? The ecosystem consists of essentially three components. There are crypto wallets. That's what the software or hardware that you're using to store your tokens and your private keys. Then there's the exchange. And the exchange is where you go and you want to take my tokens and I want to transfer them into either different currency or a different type of token. I'm going to use an exchange to do that exchange. And then finally, there are blockchains. Now, in the blockchain, there are two types of blockchains. There's a public blockchain, which is similar to what Bitcoin is. Then for the businesses, they are opening up or deploying an enterprise version of that. Most people call it a permissioned blockchain. Mm-hmm. So it's only for the employees of that companies and their business partners. So each of these areas, we started studying the attack vectors and realized that each of them had gaping holes, and we knew how to resolve those, fill those holes, and resolve those problems, and build a solution that would basically prevent that attack vector. And when people ask, are they really under attack? In the first 8 months of this year, over $1.1 billion has been stolen already in crypto. 1.1 billion. 9 million a day from individuals. Their tokens are being stolen right out of their wallets.
So, and of course, that's I guess kind of leads into the entire culture around cryptocurrency and and all these different currencies and of course exchanges, because that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to be stolen. And the entire point of some of the point of some of these is that you decentralize your kind of like your storage of assets and things like that. What I'm trying to get at is that it's obviously there are some flaws in this. Obviously, there are some points where people can lose a lot of money. They can lose a lot of everything that they built up for. It's not a completely foolproof, perfect thing. Companies and services such as yourself are working to improve the end user experience, but there's a learning curve and there are flaws. Why is this why is the blockchain as a technology better? Why are cryptocurrencies as as a unit of value or just kind of anything, why are they better than what we already have with banking and money and exchange, and things like that? Why is this better? Like, why do we keep chasing this?
Well, if you think about the printing of monies and how much it costs to print monies, but yet we will sign on to an Amazon, we'll give them our credit card, they'll store it, and then whenever we want to go and buy something, you just pull up a browser, you just click buy, and all these great things happen electronically in the background, but you didn't send Amazon a check, you didn't wire them money. You did a transaction, a digital transaction. Well, cryptocurrencies are basically the future for everyone to transact in a way that enables them to have more control over their money, pay less fees than you do currently, and also it allows you to, deal on your own basis with anyone, anytime, anywhere, 24/7. And you don't have to run up the bank. You don't have to transfer money. You don't have to do anything. You basically use a cryptocurrency as a currency, because that's what it is. Many countries today, if you go, I've been talking to a lot of countries in Africa, and they're actually doing away with most of the countries there are now starting to do away with their currency. The countries aren't even printing money anymore. So everyone is basically using their phone or their desktop computer. They have their own wallet. They load their wallet with their coins, and then they transfer those coins when needed. Now, as you said earlier, it's the good and the bad, right? The convenience of it is fantastic. You don't have all those banking fees and transaction fees. However, the danger side of it is that you now become a target for the hackers, because people always are the weakest link, unfortunately. And as far as an institution like a crypto exchange, if you're holding all the tokens, well, then you're you're a target for the hackers. And that's why, exchanges today, this year alone, have, reached over $1.1 billion, because the hackers have, very succinctly going after those exchanges, and they're fooling. They're sending phishing emails. They're using other tools that exchanges use. They're modifying those tools so they put backdoors in them. And then once they get into that exchange, they start, taking individuals' monies, their tokens away.
And that is, of course, the problem, because, the fact that there's no centralized, like you said, the good and the bad, you can see the money leave your wallet, but there's no undo button to actually get it back. So you really have to be sure 100% of the time, because there's not a lot of recourse if you are actually, kind of the victim of some very simple attacks. It's not even like the core technology is being broken by any means. This is still a proven method. It's just one of my favorite hacks that happened a little while ago was that I guess people would keep their wallet address. They have a public key and a private key. It's a long string of characters, and they would keep that either in a notepad on their desk, or they would Control-C, Control-V it. And this malware would simply go in, look for anything that looked like a wallet address, and it would replace it with, of course, a different wallet. And people would, unless they recognize that, hey, this is not my 32 string of characters, this is someone else's, which is kind of hard to do, they accidentally transfer their money away. I mean, it's very simple, but obviously very effective. So I think a good way to tackle this, and of course talk about BlockSafe Technologies and how you work yourself into this, here on your website, and when watching the video portion, we have it up. You have 3 parts here: the Crypto Defender, Exchange Defender, Blockchain Defender. Let's go one by one and talk about how you kind of do this. So let's start with the Crypto Defender and what you offer in this regard.
So what we offer, Crypto Defender is a software that will sit on either your Windows desktop computer, your Apple desktop computer, your iOS Apple mobile device, or your Android mobile device. So we have software for all 4 platforms, and essentially it does multiple things. The key, the number one most important thing that it does is it prevents keylogging attacks, keyloggers, from stealing your password when you are logging in, when you are actually opening up your wallet, when you're essentially, if you go to do a wallet transaction, right? So I'm going to basically, I need to decrypt my key. And how do you decrypt your key? You use your password to decrypt your key, so that you can then, transfer X amount of tokens out of your wallet. Well, what the malware does out there today, so they have spyware, malware that gets onto any of those four platforms, and the first thing it does is, one of the attack vectors is just what you said a few minutes ago, is it'll actually look for your 32-character string, and it'll change it on you so that when you hit the generate transaction, it sends the tokens to them. Another thing that they do is they pick up your private key. And you say, but George, my private key is encrypted. I don't have to worry about that. Correct. Your private key is encrypted. However, how do you unencrypt your private key to open it, to send the money out of your tokens out of your wallet? You need to type in your password. And so what they're doing is they're keylogging your password. And therefore, if they keylog your password and they get your encrypted private key, that's all they need to log into a wallet, use those two, and essentially take all the money right out of your wallet. So what we do is, with our CryptoDefender, is it doesn't allow the data that you type. We built this paradigm shift type of software. In other words, we encrypt every keystroke at the point of origin when your fingertips touch your keyboard, whether it's physical keyboard, like on your laptop or your desktop, or your mobile device. So as soon as your fingertips touch those keys, we are encrypting each and every keystroke in real time. Then we carry those keystrokes through our own encrypted channel that we built, that's part of the software, directly to your wallet. So every time you're typing in your password to open up your wallet, essentially we are encrypting that data from the point you type to the point we basically put it into that application. The reason why that's important to encrypt it right then and there at the point of origin is because the malware out there today, such as keyloggers, will sit somewhere in the data stack or even at the application layer, and it'll basically monitor your keystrokes as it's going into the app. So what we do is, with CryptoDefender, we actually encrypt them at the point of origin when you're typing them. And we don't allow those keyloggers to steal your password. Additionally, we stop screen scraping, clickjacking attacks, and we don't allow them to do that exact attack vector that you talked about, where they'll change your 32-character public key to someone else's key. We lock down your copy and paste buffer in memory, and we don't allow them to hook into it to grab that key and then modify it.
So, and of course, that's a lot to, all that happens in the background. I'm sure that as you use it, it's, pretty seamless. But obviously, if any of those things do kind of happen, do you warn the people, or do you just kind of keep blocking it? Because if any of these things were possible, I would sure want to know about it and then clean my system as soon as possible.
Well, okay, so the problem with that premise, and is because think of that as an antivirus, right? The problem with antivirus, and we advocate the use of antivirus, so I'm not saying anything bad about it, but they could only stop what they know about. And that's the problem when you're working with a detection type of solution. If your anti-keylogger doesn't know that there's a keylogger on there, well then how does it stop it? What we do is proactively, we assume every device you own is infected. Therefore, we encrypt every keystroke you type in real time. And we don't care if you have spyware, malware, keyloggers on your computer or your mobile device, because we're encrypting everything all the time. If you fall into that cat-mouse cycle, the hackers always have the advantage of building something new, and until you find out about it, it gets passed. That's why that reactive type of solution is thwarted every day.
No, it makes perfect sense. And by the way, we had a question in the chat room. If you just want to clarify this real quick, screen scraping. I believe you used that term a couple times. What exactly? How does that attack kind of happen? What is screen scraping?
Well, what a screen scraper is think of when you hit a control, if you hit like a control print screen, where you'll actually take a screenshot of whatever's up on your screen, and you can like print it, or you can make an image, drop it in a document. Well, what the hackers do is their software will every nanosecond or whatever they set it up to take screenshots of everything that you're doing. So if you have your wallet up there and you have your private key is exposed, if you have a public key up there, if you have, for example, account information, if you were in your bank or you were filling out an online form and to join an exchange, and you're putting in your social security number, your name, your date of birth, your social security number, where you live, how long you live there, where you work, how much you make. If you were filling out any type of document where all that stuff is up on the screen, a hacker, not only could they keylog that, but they can literally take a screen image of that. So they call that screen scraping. They're scraping the image from the screen and stealing a single image of that. And meanwhile, but they sew them all together. So they take thousands and thousands of images, and then they'll look and they say, oh, look, there's Ben typing in his password. There's Ben typing in this. So they get to see everything.
And I guess another way to kind of look at it is that, for the video portion, we have our system here at the studio, and of course, we share our monitor with everyone out there. So it's essentially what we do to share images of, let's say our guest website, but instead of me knowingly doing it on purpose, it would be like someone else unknowingly doing it, and they, entering private information. So, but yeah, hey, again, thank you for explaining that. So that's CryptoDefender. Obviously, you also have some mobile applications, because you mentioned convenience. You mentioned the fact that a lot of people in other countries, they use cryptocurrencies almost exclusively through cell phones. That's not really a topic that comes up here on the show a lot. I don't know why it's not a bigger thing to talk about malware and the likes on smartphones, but CryptoDefender for smartphones, that's a thing, right?
Yes, yeah. CryptoDefender, we have it for both desktop computers and smartphones. And basically, what we have for your mobile devices is we actually built the industry's only keystroke encrypted keyboard. So when you put CryptoDefender onto your mobile device, you actually get a CryptoDefender keyboard. And that keyboard, everything you type on it is encrypted, and that data will not get captured by when you type on it, we tunnel the data directly into your mobile application, whatever you're typing into. And when we do that, your data doesn't get stored in things like data dictionaries and keyboard cache files. Most people never realize this, what I'm about to say. But if you ever take your smartphone, start typing in, go to your email, type a G, and then everyone you've ever typed G, an email begin with G, populates, and you get to, move your finger, you hit it, and now it populates. Well, how does your smartphone know all of that? It's not like by the way, you don't have to store it in contacts for your smartphone to do that. It does it automatically. It's because all smartphones, what they do is they capture data. Now, the smartphone companies do not use this data, so I want to make that very emphatically. They do not use any of this data, but they have mechanisms in the operating system so that when you're typing out stuff that you normally type a lot, it will store it for you so that it makes it more convenient when you go back and do it again. Well, the only problem with that is it stores all of your keystrokes in a keyboard cache file or a data dictionary. Therefore, as a hacker, I don't even need to put a keylogger on your phone. I just got it. All I need is you to run a script that basically said, pick up Ben's keyboard cache file, and I will get everything you have ever typed since the last time you cleaned it. Now you say, but I didn't even know I can clean it. Yes. The thing is, in both Apple and Android, they give you a great little feature to go in there and clean your keyboard cache file of everything you typed, because you don't want to have it sitting there in like a bucket. But the problem is, are you going to do that every time you type something? You're going to go 5 layers, 5 screens down to clean that? No. And we all run busy lives today, right? So every time you're going to type something, you're not going to go back in and clean it out of your cache file. So what we do is we don't allow the data. Not only do we encrypt your data and tunnel it directly into your mobile app, we don't allow that data to be captured by the operating system. And if it can't get captured by the operating system, it can't be stored in that data dictionary. Right. And if it can't be stored, it can't be stolen.
Right. No, you're obviously, plugging those little holes that obviously, you mentioned this for convenience. The convenience will go away, but in terms of security, and if you're dealing with, these kinds of transactions, then maybe in this particular case, it's worth that sacrifice. So.
Oh, sure. And we give you and by the way, Ben, we give you a quick little, whether you're on an Apple or an Android. If you're on Apple, you just hit the little globe, and you could switch if you use, if you like to use a certain keyboard from either the manufacturer or another third party. Doesn't matter, because you can quickly change in and out of our keyboard with just one click of a fingertip. And now you're in the CryptoDefender keyboard. Now when you're doing transactions in that wallet, everything that you're doing is completely protected. Now, I should say this. Not only does CryptoDefender protect everything you're doing in your wallet, it also protects everything you're doing on that device. So if you're banking, you're shopping, you're emailing, you're browsing, everything you type is encrypted into every application on your desktop computers, on your mobile devices. So it was obviously, we built it to really protect that crypto transaction, but we realized that we could protect everything on your device. So while the name is CryptoDefender, it's really device defender, right? We're defending your whole device.
Right. No, that's and of course that's just what you want to hear. So there's CryptoDefender, and that obviously you gave a very, very good rundown. Running a little long, so I will say that if you wouldn't mind, actually, George, we're going to run into a break here in about 2 minutes. So if you wouldn't mind staying over, we can of course continue the conversation on the other side of the break.
By all means.
All right. So, but with the 2 minutes, we're not going to waste those. We're going to go ahead and get started with the next part of your products, and that is Exchange Defender. So this is obviously something that CryptoDefender is going to defend the client side of all these transactions. That's where things can go poorly for you as an individual, and that's great. Great that you can defend that. But we've also seen people be burned on exchanges, because exchanges, they themselves are not secure in a lot of ways. Imagine, if you can take someone's wallet, just like off the street, taking someone's wallet is money, but if you can hold up the entire bank, you can make away with a lot more money. I think that's that's kind of the rationale behind attacking cryptocurrency exchanges. So you actually developed some technology to protect those, because we've seen them compromised before. So talk about that. Who is going to use Exchange Defender, and how does it work? And again, I'll interrupt you when we go to break.
Okay, thank you. So Exchange Defender is it's a bundle of two of our products. Who at the exchange needs Exchange Defender? All of the first component is our CryptoDefender software. So every one of the employees and every one of the business partners of that exchange, they need to run our CryptoDefender software that protect their computers, especially if they're remote access employees, when signing into their VPN to log into their admin consoles or their exchange network. The other component is our Protect ID transaction verification engine. What I mean by that is we have an authentication, a multi-factor, out-of-band authentication solution that could be either managed on-site or through a cloud, and it enables the exchange to actually verify the transaction with the user at the point of in real time. So imagine if you and I were sitting here right now doing this interview as we are, and if your phone rang, Ben, and it said, "Ben, will you authorize 1,000 tokens to be taken out of your wallet?" you would say no because you're conducting an interview.
And absolutely. And speaking of which, there is music playing, so we'll be right back, everyone. We are talking to BlockSafe Technologies, more Computer America right after this. Everyone, stay tuned.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. That's 800-215-4461.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 32 minutes past the hour. As we continue on here, we are talking with Mr. George Waller. He is the CEO of BlockSafe Technologies. And everyone, if you missed any part of this interview so far, and by the way, George is doing an amazing job at breaking down everything that we're talking about here. If you missed any part of that, check out our podcast, wherever podcasts are heard. And it's simply today's show in its entirety rebroadcast, so you can listen to us at your convenience. But we continue on, and George, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but yeah, we were just about to talk about how you are helping to secure the exchanges. So go ahead.
Sure, thank you. So I was just explaining. So the second part of the bundle that an exchange would get is our out-of-band authentication platform. And what that does, Ben, is it provides real-time transaction verification. So as I was saying, if you and I we're on this interview right now, and if your phone rang and it actually said, Ben, are you trying to wire 50,000 Bitcoins out of your wallet? What we do is we give both you the ability to deny a fraudulent transaction in real time, or the ability to authorize a transaction in real time. So that takes a lot of onus from, one, you losing your money, and then because if you lose your money, even though it happens in the exchange, many exchanges have closed up because they were hacked, and they couldn't pay back the tokens to the people. So it protects you and the exchange by enabling you to be on the real-time side of authorizing that or denying it. It obviously mitigates the risk level for the exchange. So between both of those, our keystroke encryption will protect their employees. It'll protect their customer service reps when they're logging in. It'll protect their admin when they're logging in, so that we provide endpoint protection for the employees of the exchange. And then we provide also login authentication for those users of the exchange when their remote users are logging into the network. So we're protecting their keystrokes, we're protecting their access control, their login authentication, and then for the end user, you, the client, we're basically now enabling the exchange to use our solution in real time to reach out to you and say, Ben, are you doing this? It could happen through a phone call or through a push message. And the push could be, Ben, please swipe your finger, and authorize this transaction. So that all happens in real time.
Obviously, if some of these were in place for some of the hackings that we actually did hear about, they could have very easily been thwarted, but that certainly wasn't the case. You really think that that's kind of what you outlined there? Is this something that you feel that all crypto exchanges should at a minimum have, or is this something that, maybe just if you want to inspire confidence? I mean, how important do you think security measures like these are to crypto exchanges for cryptocurrency and other things like that to really take off, in the everyday life of people?
Well, I think it's extremely important, because if they don't put the controls in place, all right, no one, and if the system is constantly being, hacked, there's going to be no confidence in using the system, and it's going to slow down and even potentially thwart the adoption of cryptocurrency. So I think it behooves, every exchange to be proactively looking at solutions such as our Exchange Defender. But I also think it's incumbent upon, regulators, and this is, obviously a separate conversation in and of its own. Should regulators be able to, regulate things like, crypto exchanges? But the fact is that, unfortunately, a lot of businesses don't do the things that they should until the point that they're pushed by regulations and compliances. And, so you hate to think that, well, you need regulators to force them to put in strong security. But, if you had companies that are thinking aggressively and proactively, how do I protect my investment? Then those are the companies we love working with, right? Because those are the guys that are looking to protect themselves. It's the rest of them that really don't care as much, that unfortunately may need some regulatory compliance in order for them to come around and do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, something that we just covered yesterday, I think it was, because due to the elections that just happened, we were covering, cybersecurity when it comes to the elections, and like even to the point where you said that, you need regulation to kind of push people to do the right thing when it comes to security. We actually covered one about e-voting machines, and how I guess there's a regulation on the book that they have to change the login credentials every couple of hours so that someone can't come in and mess with the tallying machines. And they even had a piece of paper in the manual that said, write down your password and username right there on a sheet of paper that they give you, and keep it simple, keep it obvious, and let everyone know what it is, so that if they need to get into it, you don't forget what your login credentials are. Like, even if regulations are in place, I think people will still find the way to completely mess that up. So you definitely want to keep an eye out for people doing the right thing. So makes perfect sense. Let's go ahead, and because this hour's just flying on by, why don't we go ahead, jump right into Blockchain Defender. And this one is actually a bit more interesting to me because, the other two definitely revolve around cryptocurrency and that idea, but we're seeing the technology known as blockchain evolve in a lot of ways. Almost every major company out there who does any kind of logistics is looking into blockchain or already implementing blockchain to speed up the whole process and to verify transactions and verify deliveries, things like that. What do you offer here? Is this again focused on currency, or do you help with all applications of the blockchain?
Okay, so this is we're building this right now. We already have a proof of concept up. Everyone we show this to, they're floored by it. And there's some simple principles here. So the first thing, there is a misconception when people talk about blockchain, about security. So everyone thinks that the blockchain is extremely secure because you hear the words it's immutable, it can't be hacked, it's secure. Well, I want to first say that's absolutely true. The blockchain is extremely secure. It's a fantastic process of mathematical with algorithms, and it makes it so secure. But here's the problem. Access to the blockchain is not secure. Transaction verification on the blockchain is not even there. Okay, so what we found, Ben, is this: if you looked at a pilot project, right? So you have and of the blockchains of public and private, the enterprise or private side is the side that's growing the fastest because that's the enterprise version of it, right? And as you said, every company wants to become more efficient, more proficient, more effective, more profitable, and that's why they're putting in blockchains, instantaneous action, collaboration amongst all node users and stuff like that. It's amazing technology. But here's the problem: how do you get to your blockchain? Well, you're going to get to it through either a Web3J app or a D app, right? A decentralized app. So I want to log on to my blockchain. So I open up my app, I'm on my blockchain. And essentially, there's a common protocol handshake between my app and my blockchain. And once I double click on my icon, I'm in my blockchain. And then sure, I could do all the things, I could send data, I could do all the things I got to do on my blockchain. The problem is this, that blockchain resides on a corporate network. That means as a company, you are relying, I should say, on your existing corporate network policies to protect now that new sub network. Because think of a blockchain as a sub network on your network. So, but you're not protecting the blockchain. You're only relying on the technologies that you have for protecting your corporate network. And listen, corporate data breaches, corporate networks are being breached each and every day, multiple times around the world. Yep. So what we contend is this: not only do you need to lock down your corporate network, you now need to lock down your blockchain. So what we're building, Ben, is a solution called BlockSafe. And essentially, BlockSafe Defender sits between your D app and your enterprise or your private permissioned blockchain. So think of us as a firewall sitting between the two of those, right? You got your left hand is your D app, your right hand is your blockchain. We now sit between the two of them. That is our BlockSafe Defender agent. And here's what our agent will allow a company to do. It'll allow a company to deploy authentication and transaction verification. So imagine, as a network admin, I could say, hey, whenever Ben goes on to the blockchain and Ben goes to do a transaction over 5,000 tokens or money or whatever, automatically call Ben and verify with Ben that he is actually the one doing that transaction. Because if I get onto your network, I could easily get onto your blockchain, whereby now we're going to give the admin of the blockchain all these controls to manage and lock down that blockchain, just like they lock down the corporate network. And those are authentication, transaction verification, content filtering. What does that mean? Imagine I have an infected laptop. I didn't know it, right? I just clicked on something in my last, I downloaded something not knowingly, and now my laptop's infected. I go to log on to my blockchain, do a transaction, and all of a sudden I now put malware onto my blockchain. Guess what? My blockchain is toast. There is no such thing as running antivirus against your blockchain. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing is, not only do we have transaction verification that we're building into our BlockSafe Defender agent, we're also putting in a content filter. We're going to parse all the data that goes in and out of your blockchain, make sure it's not infected. We're going to have a blockchain firewall in there, a DDoS mitigator, a load balancer, and very importantly, a policy enforcer, a policy enforcement engine, a rules engine, and a roles engine. So basically, we now can say, Ben, you're the admin of your blockchain. Here's the tools that we're giving you. Now you can lock down that blockchain because access to it, data that goes into it, can be affected or infected, and essentially you can now lock down your blockchain so it doesn't get malware on it. You can lock down your blockchain so that only you could do a transaction or add a smart contract. Imagine if anyone got onto your blockchain, if they can go in and modify or add a new smart contract. So here you can put a rule in there saying no one is allowed to put in smart contracts but Tony. And so again, we're giving you a platform for now being able to, we're going to give you a solution to protect your blockchain.
Right, and I'm sure that the diehard purists out there are saying, especially for like things like currency, like no, you can't do that, or it's not needed. But I think that for companies to actually take the blockchain and actually use it for their own purposes, they're going to need those tools to really dig into their own blockchain and make changes on the fly, or just have a lot of that a lot of what you're saying to really make it a feasible technology for them to invest in. So that's and you mentioned that you were working on that, so that's not is that available for now or still in research?
No. It's we're building it right now. It'll be available in 2019, where we're estimating somewhere around Q2. I mean, we'll have an earlier version that where we're starting to work with a lot of blockchain platform providers and integrators that they can work and help us say, hey, add this to it, add that to it. So this way, when it gets deployed, it's really, it's a collaborative solution. But it'll be available in 2019.
Perfect. And I think the last topic that we're going to do to kind of wrap up this interview, because I've already taken a lot of your time, but I did want to talk about your team that you have behind you, because so much of what of what these companies are in fact the talent behind them. So there's there's yourself. Talk about some of the other people you have helping you, and then one I want to point out in particular, just for our own audience, is that you have a board of advisors. You have it there listed on your website. And Scott Schober, he's actually a regular correspondent here, just joined us, I believe, last week, and he's on every single month. So it was kind of interesting just seeing his face pop up there. But talk about the team behind your company. Sure.
Well, I give the most amount of the credit goes to our CTO for inventing these things. He's the guy, I'll go talk to him and say, hey, here's a big problem. And then he's the guy who figured out, our out-of-band authentication, our keystroke encryption technologies, what's needed on the blockchain side. So, his name is Ram Pemaraju, and he comes out of Bell Labs, and he was a chief architect and scientist at Bell Labs. Prior to Bell Labs, Bell Corp, prior to that, he worked for government contractors where he built voice encryptors for the Pentagon. So he's one of those, genius.
He knows the tech
guys. Yeah, he's the guy with the long white coat, and he loves to be in front of a whiteboard and figuring out algorithms and stuff like that. So he's really the brains behind the technology. And then we've got Mark Kay, and Mark, our president, comes at 26 years in JP Morgan Chase, built all their, as a chief information officer, built all their trading systems and then had to secure all of them. So he comes with tremendous amount of security at Chase and JP Morgan Chase for 26 years. And then our board of advisors, Scott. Scott's just incredible wealth of knowledge of identity theft and electronics, and what his company builds with Berkeley Varionics. Everything that they're doing is amazing, and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and stuff like that, and knowing who's on your network, who's not on your network. But we also have, for example, Sandra Snyder, who's the CEO of Security University, and her company out of Washington. They basically they do the majority of the the training for all government CISOs, CIOs, and security officers, government and corporate, Fortune 100. And then finally, the chairman of our advisory board, Steve Cooper, the day after 9/11, George Bush called Steve Cooper directly and said, I need you to be the first CIO of Department of Homeland Securities. And then Steve went to work for him as the first CIO of DHS. Then after his stint at DHS, went to the American Red Cross, then went to the FAA, and is now at Department of Commerce as a chief information officer. And he also happens to be the chairman of our advisory board.
Very, very illustrious team that you have put together there. And of course, if anyone out there wants to check out more information, you have that up there. But I will say, George, that this has been a very enlightening show, and obviously what you're working on there, desperately needed. We cover incidents of cybersecurity, cyber theft, blockchain, and cryptocurrency thefts, things like that. And I think what you're doing here obviously is going to have a lot of value to a lot of people. If people want to find out more, we have a link to your website, but if you want to repeat that, and where's the best place they can go to get more information?
Yeah, they could go to www.BlockSafe Technology. Well, they go to BlockSafeTech.com, and it's BlockSafeTech.com. And one of the things I know people, the first thing they'll call us and ask us is, how much is your software? If I'm a crypto user, a crypto trader, or I want to buy some crypto, how much is it? It's $9.99 a month, but it gives it to you for 5 devices. So you can protect 5 devices in your house and your family for $9 a month. So it's like $1.50 a month a device. So no annual, once you buy it, if you choose to use it for 2 months and cancel, boom, you only use it for 2 months. You want to use it for 2 years, use it for 2 years. We don't force anyone to stay on it or in it. And, we want you to be happy. And our motto here, and I'll leave off on this, is making the world a safer place for people to compute. And that means protecting cryptocurrencies, protecting exchanges, protecting blockchain. So, we feel very strongly about that. We've dedicated the last 18 years of our lives to protecting people. And I want to thank you for having us on and giving us a few minutes to talk about this.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. I mean, again, if nothing else, this was a great refresher. And then even beyond, if nothing else, you really have broken down your products and what you're offering here. I think you gave a lot of good information. And hey, we now have it captured on Computer America and in the podcast. So it's going to be available for everyone to check out for days, months, years to come. So, and everyone, we have been talking to Mr. George Waller. Yeah, there we go. And he is CEO. I was going to get it. George Waller, and CEO of BlockSafe Technologies. George, until next time, thank you for coming on the show. A lot of fun.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. And thank you for giving me the time today.
Our pleasure. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
All right, everyone. And there he goes. And, hey, very interesting there. So I'm not going to waste any time. If you want to check out more, again, check out the podcast. But I did want to go ahead, jump right into none other than the new segment, which we're going to play right now. And I did want to rush into this because a couple of stories have caught our eye, and we want to really dig into these, or at least mention them slightly, because we only have a few minutes. And one of them I wanted to look at, this one coming to us from CNET, but by now all the tech sites have been able to, really dig into this, or at least put up some kind of article. This has to do with none other than, here we go. Go ahead and throw up that on the video portion as CNET is wont to do. And Samsung's foldable phone, that's right, is real, and it extends into a tablet. And you can see it there. It's certainly something to behold. Because when we talk about foldable screens, we were wondering, well, there's going to be a giant hinge in the middle. What is it going to look like? How is it going to work? And we have some answers. We have some answers today that they just announced. So this is the Infinity Flex display. And they have a quote here saying that this represents an entirely new mobile platform. We've been living in a world where the size of your screen can only be as large as the device itself. And he said that we've added a new dimension to help you browse, watch, and multitask like never before. And he said that the foldable phone, and end quote, by the way, the foldable phone can run up to 3 apps at the same time. That's right. If you have a smartphone, you know that one app is about all you can do. A few of the large phones have ways of running 2 apps just recently. Now we have 3. Multitasking has never been better on phones. They said that Android will, of course, support the new foldable display technology, and that was something that that I believe the CEO, or at least Google, concerning the Android UI. Android, of course, runs on Samsung phones, and now Google is making changes so that the foldable display works natively with Android. This is not going to be some weird version of Android that no one's ever used and they have to figure everything out. But no, they're actually adding in everything you need to use one of these displays. So if you are used to the Android operating system, you will have the Android operating system in its entirety. And for everyone out there just simply listening and can't actually see it, they have a gentleman here kind of holding it up, and you can see it. Looks like a very bulky phone. The screen covering the entirety of it. It does have a bezel all the way around it, but that is what it is. And then when you open it like a clamshell, think of it like a skinny book, and the front is a screen. And then if you open it up to and if you open it up along the pages, again, going with the book analogy, the entire inside, the back screen turns off, and suddenly it doubles your screen real estate, and there is no bezel. It is simply one flat screen that can actually be folded. It's better than anything we could have hoped when it comes to if we were thinking about maybe 2 screens right next to each other, or how is it going to work? And no, this is literally a flexible display. So they said that he once again stressed that the foldable phone wouldn't be a gimmick product, and that would disappear after 6 or 9 months after it's delivered. So he said that when we deliver a foldable phone, it has to be a really meaningful product to our customer. I couldn't agree more. We are seeing the point where, especially with, let's say, the iPhone XS Max that just came out recently, we're looking at phones that are now 6.5 inches. And, a 6.5 inch phone, that's dang near the bottom of the tablet line. And we have to start thinking about different ways to actually use smartphones, because we are demanding so much of them and we want more screen real estate, but we can't really give that much more real estate to our pockets. So, hey, this is definitely a step in the right direction and very, very interesting. Again, you can check out the article at CNET or wherever you get your tech news from. I'm sure there is a lot more there. Let's see. We have time for just really none more, but some of the stories that we didn't get to that you should definitely check out if you have some time include the Wi-Fi 6 routers. If you do not recall, we talked about this with Mike Cermak about 2 months ago. Wi-Fi is being renamed. Gone are the days of Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN, AC, AX. Now we are looking at Wi-Fi 6, which will take place of AX. AC, which is the current kind of standard, is Wi-Fi 5. This is the next generation. And if you've ever seen Star Wars, some of the Imperial ships, this thing looks just like it. I'm sure it drew some kind of inspiration from it. But those are giant antennas, and hey, the Nighthawk has never looked so weird. But that article and more, we have some of them in the show notes. Everyone, the music means that we're done here. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. And in the meantime, Have a great day. Catch us every Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Everyone in the chat room, as I hit my microphone, everyone in the chat room, have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us. And hey, look, I hope that you can join us here next time. Tomorrow on the show, I know it's Wednesday, and that is normally Mike Cermak's time. Well, Mike Cermak will be joining us tomorrow. Join us for Mike Cermak, a whole hour of news where we'll be sure to talk about high tech. It's always a lot of fun. And then, I think we're gonna leave that there. But in the meantime, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.